I'm Robert Williams from MetalRules.com, and joining me tonight in San Antonio, Texas, is legendary bassist Rudy Sarzo of Dio Disciples. How you doing today,
Hey
Rudy?
Robert, how you doing? It's a pleasure.
Great to see you.
Good to see you too.
So this past March, it was announced that an all-star Ronnie James Dio tribute act would be touring under the name Dio Disciples. Tell me about when you were first approached about that. Were you at all hesitant to get on board? Was it timing right?
No, of course there's no hesitation any time that it comes to, honoring Ronnie's memory, especially this is his band. Craig Goldie, Scott Warren, Simon Wright, and myself, we were his band. I joined the band in 2004, and the other guys have been in the band longer than me, so, this is, it's very important for us to say thank you to Ronnie for everything he's done for us, not only for us, but for the metal community in general, And, Ronnie's works go beyond musical contributions. If you look back, about almost 30 years ago, he did Hearing Aid, to help feed the, kind of like the metal version of USA for Africa.
Stars.
Stars, Hearing Aid. As soon as he could afford to, he created a foundation called Children of the Night to help, homeless teenagers that were in the Los Angeles area. Kids that with dreams like dreams that we all have. We leave home, we go travel to LA and try to make it. And unfortunately, some of them fell under the influence of drugs and prostitution and so on. So Ronnie created a foundation, a house, a safe place where these kids can go and get their lives together. So, so it's not just saying thank you for his music, it's saying thank you for being Ronnie, for being a part of our lives, So the least that we can do is this.
Yeah.
So it was a no-brainer saying yes. It was a must.
It was a must.
A must.
With an artist like Dio, who has such a large back catalog of songs to pull from, how do you guys all decide on your set list?
Well, actually Scott did the tour before. I just joined the American leg of the tour. Scott did the European leg of the tour. James Lorenzo was the bass player in that, and they actually had to face that question back a few months ago. And I'm pretty sure he'll give you the best answer for that.
Well, the best answer is there's certain songs we have to do, in order to call it to consider ourselves the disciples of Dio. So we Rainbow in the Dark, Heaven and Hell, certain of the catalog that we know that Ronnie would have and the fans expect to hear, and then try to fit in a few specials that we can, to things that haven't been done so much in the past or for quite some time, and it just kind of gets talked about Simon and Craig, and we all just and Tim and Rip. Toby actually also, they do a lot of consideration because they have decided who's going to sing what, things like that, so we kind of mold it into what the time frame we have.
After doing Elf, Rainbow, Sabbath, Dio, you could certainly say he had to be one of the wisest guys in hard rock and metal. Heaven and Hell, too.
Yeah.
Thank you for catching me on that. What would you consider to be some of the best advice Ronnie ever gave to you guys?
Oh, a lot of advice there to go through. He just was really good at making decisions. He was a really great leader, and I can't think of particular advice. I just think by setting example, is the way I could describe it.
Yeah, it was phenomenal working with him because of all the singers that we worked with, he was a musician.
Yeah.
Being a singer is also being a musician. Your voice being your instrument. But the fact that he started with a trumpet, and then he started playing bass, way back, and then he became a front man. So when you would sit down and work on songs with him, his communication was on a very musical level. He could even show you things to take you in and say, Ronnie, show me. Well, and he would play it, and he would. One of the greatest joys was always going over to his house, and he would say, check this out, and we would go down to his project studio, and he would play us a song that he just recorded, and he would play every single instrument except for the drums, and because Simon lived with him, so we have Simon, program the drums or play whatever, and then it would just be like a full-blown beautiful demo with him playing everything and singing on it.
Yeah, it's a good point Rudy made about the word musician, because I think these days that term gets used loosely, and I consider a musician somebody who is more than a singer. They write, they can play some sort of instrument, and Ronnie had that background, like Rudy said, with the trumpet. And he didn't have the musical vocabulary, but he could go, he'd sing me a note, and I want to hear this, and he'd hit, and that's a B, you know, and he didn't have to guess, is what I'm saying. He heard it in his head, but he had a familiarity of what he was singing musically. And to me, somebody, you know, that just sings is a singer. A musician is somebody who's rounded like that, like Ronnie was. Knew what he wanted to hear and knew how to get it.
And in addition to that, he was an English major, so his writing was exceptional. I would say just about the best storytelling in rock and roll.
Without a doubt.
You know, his songs are messages and movies, and they're just they get you inside of it. You know, like being on stage watching the audience, listening to Ronnie delivering a song. I look at the audience, look at him, and I just get lost inside of the song. And it creates this little movie in my head, like if we would do like Gates of Babylon or Men on the Silver Mountain. You're there with him, because he was the most significant storyteller that ever came out of our genre.
And yeah, it's interesting too. I'm appreciating more now how you know, those songs take you somewhere, but each one takes you somewhere different and unique. You know, whether it's the Gates of Babylon or Egypt or, you know, A Rainbow in the Dark, or, you know, or Where All the Fools Sailed Away, you know, and you go there and it's like, wow, and all the lyrics paint that story, and that's really a skill. And he read a lot too. That's another part of the thing that I notice about really gifted lyricists, is that they seem to be, you know, avid book readers generally.
And you bringing up Gates of Babylon, that reminds me of a few years back I caught Ripper performing Gates of Babylon with Yngwie.
Yeah,
and I remember thinking, wow, could he picked a more challenging song?
Yeah.
What do you guys think are the most challenging Dio tunes to play live, or Rainbow?
To play?
To play?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you were bringing up the point of to sing, I thought, and I couldn't honestly answer that question, but, you know, I even Ripper and Toby and, you know, every singer I've ever met that's ever had to sing those songs goes, wow, how did he do that? You know? To play, they're that's kind of, I think, I don't know if Rudy would agree, but that we've been doing it. That's the kind of music we're kind of familiar with. So I mean, yeah, there's challenging things, but a lot of times the challenging things are more about the arrangements of the songs. Like, you know, you think it's going to go here, but it doesn't. You know, and then we change it, and that. I can't think of the most challenging one to play.
Being a member of Dio and now Dio Disciples, I think the challenge and the reward is actually going into such a diverse catalog. Because not only are you playing Dio, but you're also playing Black Sabbath, and at some point we're even doing some Heaven and Hell songs in our set, and then also Rainbow. And the thing is to be able to navigate through all those different styles of music and still retain a purity about it. You know what I mean? Not be just good at doing Dio music, but also be good at doing Rainbow music and Heaven and Hell. So to be able to capture the essence of what those bands were about. I think that is, because, you know, Ronnie sang, since he was in every single one of those bands, he was very pure in his delivery every time we did one of those songs. So for us as musicians, I have to like really try to capture how the bass player played in Rainbow, how the bass player played in you know, Geezer played in Heaven and Hell, or Jimmy Baines played in Dio. So it's a matter of being able to capture those subtleties and all the nuances, you know.
That's a good point, and I think that, because keyboards are pretty much an auxiliary part, but very much an important part of most of Ronnie's music. But when it comes to, I wanted to take that opportunity to say that Craig, you know, because I've been in Dio for quite a while. We've gone through several guitar players, you know, and Craig is just a master at what Rudy was talking about, at being able to, you know, embrace what that meant when Richie played it and all that stuff. Yeah. Whereas some of the other guitar players just kind of went, well, I want to do it my way, and they did it well, but But Craig, I think that's why Craig really belongs in the Dio Disciples, because he really hits them home.
Yeah, Craig's been longer than any of us with Dio.
Yeah.
He joined the band 25 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
He was there nearly in the beginning, but of course he came and left.
Yeah.
So, but that's.
So it's the attention to detail.
Pays attention to the detail of like what Rudy was describing. You know, who played this and what did they mean? You know, stylistically when they played it, instead of just using his own. I'll do this. You know.
So you guys have already hit a lot of markets, you know, touring as Dio Disciples, and ultimately, in terms of reaching a larger audience, has there been any talk about going into the studio and laying down any of these tracks, or?
Well, I mean, we're considering doing a DVD of what we're doing now. As far as new material, yeah, we're talking about it. We're thinking about it. We think we should do some, but we're just taking it as it comes. This is a brand new endeavor for all of us. It's actually something that we didn't even think possible, without Ronnie.
Of course.
And so we're just letting it lead us to what comes next. Sort of, I kind of feel like it's bigger than us.
It's
to be a part of, yeah.
Well, after you guys perform here and devastate the stage at South Texas Rock Fest, what's next on the agenda for
Dallas tomorrow. Yeah, and then more touring at the beginning of next year.
Well, cool. Well, thanks so much, both of you guys, for taking the time to talk metal.
Thank you, man.
Any last words for your Dio fans watching at home?
Check it out.